Hi, good afternoon. In this lesson, I'll tell you about present perfect progressive tense and its usage in English language. In English, present perfect progressive... Will you shut up? Hi folks, be warned. This is type of English grammar studies that won't contribute to your English fluency at all. What you need instead is practical English grammar that you can apply in your daily conversations. Stay with me, and you'll be speaking more fluent English in no time. Hi everyone, how are you keeping? It's time for another practical English grammar tip. And as you know, here in English Harmony, all things grammar are directly linked to real-life conversations. So here's an English grammar rule that actually made a real impact on my English fluency. It's so-called future in the past tense. Have you ever heard of it? The chances are you haven't. Because surprisingly, even the most comprehensive English learning websites don't have the future in the past tense classified separately. And here's an example of it, and you'll understand why it's very important in a few moments. I told Michael I would do it, but he didn't listen to me. Have a look at this sentence. I told Michael I would do it, but he didn't listen to me. Now tell me, why am I not using the word will instead? Why am I not saying I told Michael I will do it? Yes, you guessed right. It's the future in the past tense. And what it does is the following. It demands that whenever you're talking in the past tense, namely the main action in your story is taking place in the past, the word will changes to would if you refer to a future action. So have a look again at our sample sentence. I told Michael I would do it. You see, the main action is taking place in the past. Apparently you are having a conversation with Michael and now you're telling your friend about it. I went into office, I spoke to Michael, and I told him. All this is happening in the past, right? But when you refer to a future action from the past event's perspective, the future in the past tense kicks in. So if you told him, which is the past, that you will do something, please note this is not the correct English grammar here. I'm just using this construction here to make my point. This will changes to would. And here's the tricky thing about this future in the past tense. The word would, of course, is a word that can be used in completely different situations. For instance, if I'm saying, yes, I would do it, but I don't really want to, I'm not referring to future at all. I'm just saying that I would do it, but I actually won't. These type of sentences are called conditionals in English grammar, and the future in the past tense is kind of embedded into the conditional sentences type 2 and 3. But here's the first difficulty. When you learn the conditionals, it doesn't explain why the would form is used. You just have to take it for granted. On top of that, the conditionals type 2 and 3 are improbable and impossible actions, so it's not being made clear at all that whenever you refer to future action talking of past, will changes to would. It's extremely simple, but as I've been telling you many times, and you can also read it on my website, quite often traditional English grammar studies will make the English language seem a whole lot more complicated, and many of those grammar rules aren't that important. It suffices to know a few rules that really matter, like the future in the past tense, which is often ignored, rather than memorize all types of conditional sentences and still not being able to use them in real-life conversations. And now, some examples for you that you can start implementing this grammar rule in your spoken English right away. I spoke to my mom, and she said she would give us lift to mall on Saturday. So this is very important. Don't use the word will. Don't say, I spoke to my mom and she said she will give us a lift. As the main action is in the past, you need to use would instead of will if you refer to future action. My best friend rang me and asked if I would still go hiking with him. Not, my best friend rang me and asked if I will still go hiking with him. Your best friend rang, so everything that he said or you said that will or won't happen, or you'll do or you won't do, all this becomes would or wouldn't happen, or would or wouldn't do. I left home too late, and on my way to work I realized I would never make it on time. Not I will never make it. You see, the meaning of word would in this case is the same as will. Think of it as the same word will. Force yourself to stop thinking about would as something that might happen. So if you're already not doing this, start changing will to would when talking about past events and referring to future. It's really surprising, but the majority of foreign English speakers that I've met aren't following this simple rule. There's a big chance that neither of our languages has such a rule, and as I told you before, this simple future in the past tense is often ignored and conditional sentences are taught instead. So the foreign English speaker might be perfect at conditionals, but still say things like, my sister told me yesterday that she'll get married. Wrong! My sister told me yesterday that she'd get married. She'd, she would, meaning she will. And you'll probably often wondered why these "these" are added to words. Now you know that it's simply the same will, but used in a story that took place yesterday, or a year ago, or just now, but in the past. And here's a good tip on how to start using the future in the past tense. It's going to be when you're telling someone something that you've heard or you've seen, or you're telling what happened with you on a particular occasion. So mostly it's retelling events. Well, actually you'll ever use the word will in an instant decision like, okay, I'll go and carry those boxes over here. If you spend most of your time with colleagues gossiping, you'll be using the word would a lot, as you'll be mostly talking about what happened. And to make it really fluent, swap would for the. Last week Sarah told everyone she'd take holidays, but I saw her today with my own eyes. I told him that I'd never go out with him. I knew it'd happen. Okay, thanks for your attention, and if something is really not clear to you, just email me at robbie@englishharmony.com or comment below.